Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon. I don't know why it's not showing up. Why is this not working? And I need to focus. Can you guys hear me? My screen's not working. Anyway, I had odds at 310, 311, 315. I really like that they moved this ahead of 311. This is perfect timing of getting back into the channel. And I was just telling you guys, just don't worry because we have some odds coming up here. And sure enough, we got back over 3-2. Okay, so let me just focus. Hold on, because I need to see what my goal was. That I don't have 683 550 marked, but the goal was to try clearing 683 550 because that's a calculated spot today off open, and then try getting back. Let me just delete all of this because there's a lot of noise in between here. Try to get back to this 6838. Okay, closer to like this range in here, and ideally back to the 68 41 43, just to see if they can get it back into the channel. I don't know if we have odds of getting back to 68 50s, to be honest with you, but they did leave a tiny bit of room up here because the goal was 68 57 35. Let me just set some alerts so I don't miss anything. Hold on. This chart is so messy. I'm gonna have to clean this up. I didn't even know that TradingView now can merge your templates, eh? After a split. It just did that for me for Netflix. Isn't that cool? it like submerged it into what the price points would be post split. That's actually really cool. 10-year is up a lot today too. I feel like that's something we should know. Just as an FYI. Okay, 15. There could be an odd at 16. 15 was calculated, so if I'm off by a minute, it could. This break right here could occur just after. So basically, I'm looking to see if they can get to that 68.38, 68.41.75, 68.44 range as early as this point in time. Only if they can clear 6835.50. And I'm gonna shut up for a second because I need to focus too. Because I did do some end of day yes, and I did some SPY for tomorrow. Because this would be the point that I think if they're going to stall here, then they would. Oh, they're trying to hold the line. You can kind of see how they're trying to hold that 6.8. I don't have 6.83250 marked, but that is one of our spots today. And they really are just stalling this 50 spot. They did tag it though. So let's see. Yeah, this could be like a carryover. Because remember how I said it could be just after 315. So let's maybe watch the 30-second interval here just to kind of see what they do. And if they end up stalling right here, I would think that this could just be pinnable into the close. Okay. What do you guys think? You think that they're gonna stall here? Or you think that they're gonna try to break? There's not too much time left. I could also be off by a little bit. Yeah, to me it looks like they're stalling. I don't know. To me, it looks more like a stall. You can see like the immediate volatility post 315, 316 after failing to get back over 6835.50. This is why I was saying I need to focus, because if there's volatility, it's going to come in pretty fast. And I don't want to miss any exits. Yay for what? For stalling? Or for what? Oh, thank you. It could be a boring close though, because unfortunately guys, this was the best window for them to try clearing. So them stalling right here, they could easily just keep this pinnable, because right now on multiple setups that flip tomorrow, there's a lot of structural importance around here. Do you see it? Okay, and even like on the daily, in between like this mid 3 bar right here, right in between here. So if they really wanted to, they could just keep this basically stuck into the close, because these are very pinnable spots. Okay. There's another window that opened up around like 321 and 324 that we could look for, but I feel like they're going to start making this pinnable based on how they just traded this. Let's see if this next window helps us a little bit better than this one. I would imagine that if they open this hour and close this hour in the zone. So that's my only concern, is that they did bring it back to here for the last hours. So the only way that they could try resetting this is into the second half. Okay, so like this period here. But at the very least, we need above 68.35.50. So, okay, let's see. This was the next small window that reopens here. That could help our odds a little bit. That's pretty funny though that the volatility that came in right after 316 right here. So 3.75 points. I feel like that would have been enough to get this back over that 3.8 spot. Do you guys see that? Can you see this? So they definitely had some odds here had they, if this was the kind of PA that we saw around that 315, 316 window. So 6838, 683850 is definitely that overhead above 35.5. I'm not reading any of those comments, guys. Anything in detail. I'm just streaming the close. Okay, let's just reset. 683250 alerts. I feel like that's where it's currently getting stuck here. Are you guys okay if I delete the odds that we had for earlier? They did a decent job of holding 68.21.75. I don't have it marked right here, but that was the calculated area for today. This area here. So that's kind of the spot I'd be worried if we lost that into the close, because that's how we could retest 68.13, and we want to avoid that as much as possible because there's too much risk heading into tomorrow if they did that. Okay. Yeah, this looks pinnable to me. I could tell just by what they did during this period here and how they're stalling right here, kind of leaving the last 330 to 336.38 window open, but based on what they're doing here, I can't imagine that this wouldn't be a pinnable close. Which isn't the worst thing considering we already tested six, like the max range I had for today's session that seemed like it had the highest area of confluence was 6857.75 and 68 like back to the OR range, like these ranges in here. But and this is specifically off today's lows. That's 44 points where they stalled. Okay, and then off real-time lows. Where is it? Back in here. This was 43 points. So, I mean, from real-time lows perspective, this is definitely, like, that was definitely more than enough range right here, okay? And then from the opening range perspective, so like off 6.8, 13.50. Okay, we already hit 42 points. So like, there's a lot of confluence around 5.650. Okay, 5.7.5. And what happened here when they had this big sell-off is we basically lost 33, 34 points here. Do you guys see that? This is what allowed that continuation for this trend, because it was an immediate breakdown off of that 5.556, hence that reversal. So and then from our 2-1 spot, this area here, I don't know if you guys saw that. Remember how I said 2.175 is extremely calculated for today's session? Hey? Do you guys remember that? That's exactly 34 points from where they stalled highs. So just as an FYI, okay? And that could be part of the reason why they might want to pin the close. Okay? Why is 68.21.75 calculated? Let's see if who was paying attention this morning. I spent like an hour guiding you guys through the open today. Why was that area calculated? This is also why maybe they would have had some odds by the way of getting the 68.65 retest. Okay, and this is where we stalled basically last night, right? Do you guys see that? So there were some odds. If they gave us a 43 to 44 point break off of our 68.21.75, that would equate to retesting overnight highs, okay? Another thing is our overnight lows. Okay. Let me just delete some of these. To our highs, okay, this is like a 62 point stall. Normally you don't stall around 62 points, so like if they were to come back and take this out, that's what would get us our core ranges, like close to 6.8, 6.8. So those could still be some major overheads, but obviously 68.55, 75, 68.56, 50, 68.57, 50 are going to be some big spots for us that we have to work through for overnight conditions. Is everyone on the same page? I feel like this is pretty straightforward and basically exactly what we talked about yesterday in terms of if we were to fail range or whatever. Okay, let me go back to this. I'll share this with you guys. Someone actually said last time, don't do copy image, do copy link. Okay, I'm going to try that this time. Because I don't know, I guess if that's more helpful for you guys, then go ahead. What time is it? All right, it is 3:30. Okay. Let's see what market does here. This is kind of the last window I had for breaking out of a pinnable odd this afternoon. Still seems like it wants to be pinnable though. At least they took it back over 3.2 here. Like you see that 3.250 break right here before 3:30. Did you guys see that? Okay, so it could open up that odd of retesting 35.50, 6.835.50. What's the overheads that we're working with right now into the close? Give me support. Mid overhead. You guys should know all of those 4 things. If you don't, then you shouldn't be trading this session right now. These aren't really the best tradable ranges anyway, so even having sat out is probably not a bad idea either for this afternoon. After that nice break to 68.50s. So far they're breaking down range. Give me the support, mid overhead, wider overhead, max ranges. You should know all 4 of those things. We just went over them. So you should know exactly where support is. You should know where our current mid overhead is. Wider overhead and max range. Crazy that there's like so many people subscribe to the Substack, always like at least 40 to 80 people watching, and then only 2 people answering. It's always so funny to me. I would say the 21 to 75, hello, we just went over that, like just now, is obviously support. Okay, this area here is clearly support. 3,550 to 3,800, okay? And then we have some like wider overhead around 41.75, 44, this 48 area, okay? And max ranges are those 50s. I can't see us going higher than that. I don't want us going back to OR snack. We have to try holding those we have to try holding those 20s. We'd get really screwed if they took it all the way back to the neutral zone. That's going to really mess us up for tomorrow. And we still want odds of testing core areas ahead of the 4th. Otherwise, we could go all the way back to 67.20s. So let's see. Let's see if they can break some of the range here around that 36, 38 period. 68, 32, 50, 68, 35, 50 are the current lower overheads here, with 68, 21, 75 being a massive support into the last half of the day. Netflix, if anyone took it, is still climbing here. I had a max range of 110 on this one into the close. I don't know if they'll get there, but it's getting some liquidity and some volume. 68, 32, 50 being retested here at exactly 335, 336. See if 335 breaks this range to give some odds for the 37, 38 period to retest 35.50. Okay, I'm going to shut up again and focus a little bit. hopefully this is helping you guys into the close a little bit in terms of at least knowing what to maybe look for. Because pinnable closes sometimes can be very hard to trade. They're not always like the best range. Okay, that's not bad. They closed over 32.50 and back over the channel. Do you see that? At 33. This could give an odd here for this little window to retest. We'll have to see. What do you guys think? You think they clear 35.50 or you think they keep this stuck? I'm not going to put up a poll, just yes or no in the chat. We might watch the 39 frame too, just because this volatility came in right after, so. And mostly because they stalled beneath 3.350, 3.4 here at 37, which kind of reduced the range a little bit for 3.8. Although it did go back to 32.50 and is holding here, so 338 holding, 6.83250. These are some really calculated ranges here into the close, so we'll see if they can try. I put an extra minute here just because we had that volatility come in a minute late, or post. And since they brought back down range, that could just reduce this a tiny, tiny bit. It looks like they're trying, though. They're trying to at least test 34. They're trying. 35 being tested here. Did they tag it? They'll probably do it on the 3.9 stick because I think that there was a little bit of a delay. 68.35 being tested here. 35.50 is this overhead. I think they tagged it though, didn't they? I hate when that happens. When did they break that? Do you see that? That was like 5 seconds late. It was in the first 4 seconds of that 39 flip. I had a feeling that they would do that and that it would be a little bit late. So can someone put that in the chat? 4-second delay could imply some volatility here. What's the most important thing if you're a few seconds or a minute late that you have occur? super important that if you're late that you have follow through. Otherwise, there's going to be volatility. Do you see that immediate volatility, guys, at that 340 stick? How much range was that? I covered immediately off that 3550 just in case because it looked like they're going to stall it. A lot of these reductions have been around 3 to 3.5 points. So again, that's still implying around that 38, 39 area. Keeping this pinnable into the close. It doesn't mean that they can't take this higher. I just wanted to cover at least half in case they stalled. And we're going to watch to see where they take this to before the final 15. Okay. We want this pinned in the channel preferably, so... What do you guys think? How many here think that they're going to try breaking this into the close here? That's some nice sticks. It could get volatile though, so just be mindful of that. See if they can break it over 3,550 before the final 15. If they do, that's going to really help us, guys. If they can get it over this by the final 15, that should really help us, because at least would be in odds of this area here into the final 15 minutes, okay? Okay, I'm going to focus in really hard on my own positions, because I don't want to miss any exits. You guys focus in on yours. Because there could be a lot of volatility that comes in into the close here too. And you see how they're making this so tight because 3550 is not even that far off. And like neither is 3.8 or 3.9 or 4.1, but they're definitely trying to leave this upper core to channel bound into the close. So far 345 implying some volatility here. They stalled just beneath 3550 before that flip. Their final odd would be around that 348, 350 window to see if they can try taking it back over. We still have risk of 38.21 into the close too, which you should be mindful about. So if they're leaving it beneath 3250 here and 3550, especially before 350, expect some two-way volatility, especially since they left that range open around that 21, 22 area, okay? And that would make sense considering the kind of open we had today. Like this being a very two-directional type of session makes total sense that they would do that. Okay. So see if they can try getting back over 3250 here and retesting 3550. Probably no later than like the minute follow through after 350. Because that's definitely not a good close for 350. They kept it in the channel, or in the zone, I mean. Like I said earlier too, like if they stalled the 3550, 36 area, it could just be because they want to keep it as close as possible to these pinnable spots into the close, which it looks like that's exactly what they're doing. Do you guys see this? Like they're trying to keep this as pinnable as possible here around these ranges. Ideally, we want it at least over 2525, but hopefully over 2750, closer to like that 30, 31 spot. I feel like if they pin it above 32, that's going to be the best case scenario for us because then at least it's in the channel and give some odds of getting back to these ranges in here and digesting in the channel overnight and sustaining 6820s. Our final odds are always 354, 355, so we'll see if they give some turnaround here. 60s, 7s, 60s, and 70s. Why do you guys always jump so far ahead? Let us test 6, 7, 8, 8 first before we look at 67, 60s, 70s. Yeah, we could get there this week. We could even get as low as 67, 20s, but so far we're kind of still within range. We haven't even broken out of the zone yet. We're still trading within the zone and channel. Yeah, so far they're definitely going to keep this stuck, it seems, based on where they're taking this. Are you subscribed to the Substack, Strikerman? Did you watch the stream from yesterday? Here's that 68.21 back test here into the close. You could have also tried a short, guys, off that 345 failure for the back test of 68.21.75. This is a huge spot and a really important time of day, because if they fail this area here, this is the only way I figured that they could come back and back test opening range. 68.10.75 was my real-time support that we held today. And then we had some wider support down to 6799, 6788, 89, 9150. Had a lot of confluence in here, this area here. But ideally, you want to keep it at least in these 20s into the close. So we'll see if they try holding the line here above 2150 or 2175. They tagged 2125. So far, that's a valid 3-bar down with some odds to try negating in the next minute here. So hold on, this would have to be the exhaustion stick, otherwise they'll continue drilling this into the close. So ideally we'd want this to exhaust here and try getting back at least over 2.5, ideally back to like that 2.7 area, and if they can get it back to like here, but we'll see. Otherwise, minimum pin we'd want is that 2175 just for odds, but for structure, this really puts us in a bad place if they close us here. We need at least above here. They're trying to exhaust on this 4th bar here a little bit. Not much, though. Where do you guys think that they're going to pin the close here? $28.20 would be good. I just want it back at least over 25.25 because that was the minimum. I think the second area was close to like here, 27.50. So let's just watch around this area in here. And like I said, they could bring it back up into the close. I think real time they might just want to try pinning this though. And it would make sense because they know they don't really have to do anything above and beyond this area here. If they leave it at 2175, it's not the worst case because it isn't a calculated area, but it's bad for structure, okay? So we want it at least over 2525, ideally over 27. I don't remember what the exact range was. I think it was like 2725 or something like that. Somewhere like right here. Oh, wow. There it is. 2-8 break, guys. Right back to that 30 spot, right into the close. That's exactly what we wanted to see, so that's good. At least they didn't fail structure for us. I think over 30.75 would have been better, but back over this 2-8 was good. And now I think they could bring it back to the channel into the close. I feel like I'm losing my voice. So we'll see what they end up doing here, but nonetheless, that's still better than keeping it stuck freaking down here. So 68.20s held into the close, and they brought it back to 2.8, 2.9. See if they can get it back over 3.250, 3.550. Those are kind of the overheads here. Overnight conditions, I want us to hold the zone, obviously. So this is going to be some overnight support down here around 6.791, 6.799. If we can avoid that entirely, that would be better for us, because if we pinned core rate ranges around the 68.20s, it gives us an odd to retest 68.50s and ideally 68.66. I think that's better. So if we can hold 68.20s overnight, that's going to be the best case scenario. Usually if that's the case, that's a hold and go scenario, meaning 68.20s hold and you just climb. You can't really stall, okay? To get back to the 68.55, 57 retest and try retesting 68.66. Overnight, I feel like if they bring it back to the channel in here and just sit there and do nothing, that's going to be best for odds so that it avoids volatility. I think that's it. Do you guys have any questions before I sign off, or are you guys good to go? We'll see where they close the actual session too. They might actually close the session over 3.2, depending on what they do here. Okay, if you guys are good on your end,